Hello and a warm welcome to my YouTube channel where I try to educate the viewers on technical analysis on the current market scenario. In this video, I have covered the flagship Tata company, Tata Motors. The Tata Motors, as we all know, is the leading automobile manufacturer, not just in India, but with its global presence through its operations across various continents via its subsidiaries and its joint ventures, including the Jaguar, Land Rover, and Daewoo. Now, it has witnessed increasing profit every quarter for the past three quarters, that's in the financial year 21-22, has been improving cash flow since the last 2 years. So that's from the COVID lows, we've seen good cash flow improvement in them. Uh, Both FII and DIS have increased their stake in this company as on December 31st. Right now, the promoter holding is around 46%. FIIs are at 14.57%, which has gone up by 1% from September to December quarter. Mutual funds are at 6.52%, while the public holding is around 25%, a very healthy 25%. Now let's have a look at the chart and try to analyze the outlook of what lies ahead for Tata Motors from the current scenario out here. Now, before I go into the depths of internals of what it looks like, a little bit of education on particular technical analysis out here for the viewers who might not be aware of it or what is which will be covered now in Tata Motors also. So Tata Motors has made a bullish island reversal today. Now this is not found very regularly. It's a rarely spotted scenario, and it is a strong bullish reversal indicator. Now, how is it made? How do we just identify one? Is say the market first rule is that it is to be found in a downtrend. That is, after the stock is been doing a correction in that time frame in which we are looking at it. Then the stock goes on to make a bearish candle. Out here, there's a bearish candle out here. Then it does a gap down. Gap down. What we have been witnessing with this Russian-Ukraine crisis out here, that there is no movement out here. After that, the stock staggers around this zone like this, and then the stock goes on to cover this gap with a gap up, with a gap up. So what has happened out here is this zone, which we call the gap down zone out here, has been covered by a gap up, gap up. So this particular double window out here has created a bullish island reversal. That is, that these candles out here that we see out here are completely isolated from both ends, from the downward gap down to the gap up. This is called a bullish island reversal. There is a gap zone out here where no trade took place. No trade. So while the market was falling down, the sellers were ready to give up the stock at any price. They didn't bother to have a continuation from this level. Market opened down due to whatever global cues or whatever, and they continued to sell it all the way. Then the stock did some consolidation in that zone out here, and it covered this gap with a gap up. So no trade zone out here, no trade zone, and isolated candles out here, like an island out here. A mega bullish reversal signal as long as the gap is now not covered, not covered. So today, even though we saw in the second half some selling pressure came in the index and stocks because of weekly settlement and all, but many stocks have now activated this kind of a reversal today, suggesting that if this gap is held, then we could have a strong rally upward in all of them. So because this, we don't see bullish island reversals happening on a regular basis. So because the criteria is it has to be formed in a downtrend, it has to have a gap down covering a gap up. So the event doesn't occur so many times so regularly, but when it does, it gives a healthy reversal as long as the gap is not covered. Now let's go back and try to analyze Tata Motor. Now in the monthly, we can see out here that the stock is trading well above its cloud out here. Little bit of England and India, but that's a bullish sign that in spite of the market, many stocks have come down very heavily in the monthly also. Tata Motors is quite significantly held in the upside. Move above 445 will further accelerate the medium to long term trend line on a sharp move upstairs. That's on the monthly perspective, totally out here. But overall, very steady and strong scenario in the monthly. Uh, scene. Let's have a look at what the weekly is suggesting. Now, in the weekly, we could see that bulk of 2021, that's from March till August, the stock was in a sideways trend, completely sideways out here. And then it just took off and it hit a high of 530 out here, which is almost near its 2016 high out there. And then it moved like this. In fact, in the month of October, first week October, we saw a 20% intraday move in Tata Motors, which is unbelievable. Very, very sharp moves, very, very strong, mega short covering rally out here. After this, long phase, imagine 6 months of nothing, and then the stock does this. Post that, Post this, it again went into a sideways drift from October till Jan. When markets were not making highs, many stocks had started showing signs of weakness. Tata Motor was still holding on to that zone till end Jan, but then the crude, with the Russian crisis, crude started spiking up, and in fact, all stocks saw a tumble, and this one completed a bearish clamp also on the downward move. Now, this week, it managed to stay above the baseline. This week, it opened below, but now has gone and started sustaining above its baseline, which is at 414. Currently, we are trading at 420. Tomorrow being 19, tomorrow being Friday, that 414 level will be interestedly watched going forward on whether it can manage to sustain above it and move ahead from there. So sideways move up, sideways dump, and now attempting to go up. That's the weekly scenario. Now let's look at what the daily looks like. Okay. Now in the daily, first gap down, second gap down, third gap down. So we have a breakaway gap down, a runaway gap down, and an exhaustion gap down. Why exhaustion? Because that gap is got covered. But how did they cover this gap? They covered it with a gap up. So we have in Tata Motor a bullish island reversal. We have a gap down and we have a gap up. So we have a window out here where no trade has taken place. So the buyer, the seller who was ready to give up at all cost, now we have a buyer who's ready to take it at all cost up. And look what it did in the gap up. So first, it covered the exhaustion gap out here. This is the exhaustion gap. And then it went on to cover the runaway gap, which is a strong gap down, runaway gap out here also. So it has a pending gap down here, right here at 460 to 480 now. So, and apart from that, the stock made a bullish morning star doji yesterday. So three candle morning star doji followed by a bullish island reversal. Now, it's going to be very interesting from tomorrow if it can first managed to stay above the weekly baseline of 414 and also protect this gap up at 409. If it manages to do both of them, then a move first towards 445, then a move towards 470, then 475 to 490 is on the cards for Tata Motors. Uh, if the gap is held, then the move up could be much faster. But if the gap is covered also, then this we would call it just that the retest of the morning star doji is taking place. But then yes, the up move could take its own time to happen. So the speed of this up move will largely depend on how it holds on to the 409 to 414 belt zone out here and doesn't let the island get covered and moves up. If it gets covered, then yes, it might come down to 395 odd and then move up. But overall, the scenario looks like Tata Motors is gearing up for a move, whether it does it straight away up or it does move till say 445, then there's a small dip and then move up like that, or dip like that. Both ways, the possibility of upside is getting stronger and stronger in the case of Tata Motors from here onwards. If the overall market continues, however, if we see again escalation of tension in the Russian-Ukraine border, then if this fails to hold this level out here of 385, 390, then yes, it would be a false breakout and then things would look ugly in it. But overall, we want from all points of view, it looks more like a bullish scenario than a bullish. We just cannot discount the fact of a morning star doji and a bullish island reversal to be bearish for the time being, at least. I hope this video is helpful to you all in understanding of few intricacies of technical analysis. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And in the end, the disclaimer, please, this is not a trading advice. Before you decide to invest, kindly do your full study thoroughly and then come to a decision whether to do it or not to do it. Until then, happy investing, everyone. Bye bye.